The Dallas Cowboys are once again in the spotlight, and not for the reasons fans might have hoped. After a disappointing loss to the Chicago Bears, all eyes turned to Jerry Jones, who, as always, didn't hold back when asked about potential moves the team could make before the trade deadline. Now, Jerry didn't exactly confirm anything, but the way he spoke sure made it sound like something could be brewing in Dallas. When asked if he'd be willing to make a move, his response was clear. If the right opportunity came along and the Cowboys had the assets to make it happen, then yes, he'd pull the trigger. And make no mistake, the Cowboys do have the assets. We're talking about a team with not just one, but 2 first-round picks in their pocket. That's prime trade currency in today's NFL. But here's where things get complicated. Jerry Jones said he'd only move picks if it meant getting something really special in return. He doesn't want just any player. He wants someone who can come in and immediately elevate this roster. That's fair, but it also raises the question, what does special even mean in this context? Because the last thing the Cowboys need is to give up major draft capital for a player who's not going to move the needle. Now, let's be real. There's a bit of irony here. Jerry's talking about using draft picks wisely, even though not long ago the Cowboys made moves that didn't exactly scream long-term thinking. But setting that aside, the philosophy he's preaching actually makes sense. You don't make a trade just to say you made a trade. That's not how you build a team that can compete deep into January. You make a trade when it fills a real, tangible need, and when the value lines up for both short-term impact and long-term stability. So where do the Cowboys go from here? What's their next move, if there's even one to make? The big question fans are debating right now is, should the team try to land a running back? That discussion has cooled off a bit since May, but there's still plenty of chatter. Names like Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, and even Devon Chain have been thrown into the mix. And sure, on paper, any of those guys would bring serious juice to this offense. Kamara's dynamic, Hall has elite potential, and Chain is young, explosive, and on a team-friendly deal. But are any of them truly available? That's a whole different story. Even if they are available, there's still the question of whether the Cowboys actually need help at running back right now. And to be honest, that answer might not be as clear-cut as it seemed earlier in the season. Javonte Williams, for instance, has been turning heads. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry, has found the end zone multiple times, and ranks high in almost every meaningful advanced metric. He's breaking tackles, gaining yards after contact, and helping keep this offense balanced when a game script allows it. So, does Dallas really want to burn a first-rounder on a back when they might already have a viable solution in-house? And this is where the situation gets even more delicate. If you're going to swing for the fences, it has to be at a position of urgent need. Right now, that's not running back. It's defense. Nearly every level of this defense has holes. Edge rusher, linebacker, cornerback, safety, you name it. And unfortunately, the loss of Micah Parsons in that trade has only made things worse. Without him, this defense just isn't the same. They've lost their identity, their anchor, and now they're scrambling to keep their heads above water. No running back in the world is going to fix that. So naturally, the next place to look is the edge rusher market. And there are some intriguing names floating around. Trey Hendrickson, if the Bengals decide to wave the white flag. Bradley Chubb, if Miami start a fire sale. Jalen Phillips is another interesting one. Young, talented, but banged up. Then there's Danielle Hunter, although the Texans seem committed to winning right now with C.J. Stroud under center. But let's not kid ourselves. All these names come with serious price tags. You want one of them, you're probably going to have to fork over that precious first-rounder. And even if you do that, there's no guarantee it'll be enough to turn this defense into a playoff-caliber unit. That's the harsh reality of where the Cowboys are right now. The offense? It's solid. Dak Prescott is playing at a high level. The wideouts are producing. The line is holding up. This group can put up points and control the clock when needed. But the defense is a mess, and not the kind of mess that gets cleaned up with a single trade. This isn't one piece away. It's multiple levels of the defense, all struggling at once. Defensive tackle is probably the strongest group right now, but edge, linebacker, and secondary, it's rough. And that's what makes this trade conversation so tricky. You got one side of the ball built to win now, and the other side clearly in need of a rebuild. That's a tough place to be in the NFL, because every move you make has to factor in both timelines. If you go all in on a trade, you risk compromising your long-term flexibility. But if you sit on your hands and wait for the offseason, you might waste another prime year of Dak Prescott's career. That's the tightrope the front office is walking right now. And frankly, it's not clear which direction they'll lean. What is clear is that Dallas has the capital to make something happen, if they want to. 2 first-round picks is a luxury not many teams have. They got the ammo. They got the need. The only thing missing is the right opportunity. And that's where patience comes into play. Just because you can make a move doesn't mean you should. You got to think long-term. Think about next year. Think about building a sustainable roster, not just plugging 1 or 2 holes. Because here's the truth that's tough for fans to accept. This Cowboys team might not be good enough this year. Even with a big trade, are they really in the same tier as the top contenders? Are they going toe-to-toe with San Francisco, Philadelphia, or Kansas City? Probably not. So before you give up premium assets, you better be sure you're getting the kind of impact that truly moves the needle. Otherwise, you're just mortgaging the future for a short-term gain that might not even pan out. And let's not forget that the front office already showed their hand by dealing away Micah Parsons. That move alone signaled that they were punting on maximizing the 2025 window. Once that decision was made, everything else should be viewed through that lens. This isn't a team going all in. This is a team trying to thread the needle, stay competitive enough now, without wrecking their ability to build something real down the line. So if you're Jerry Jones, you have to ask yourself, what's the smartest path forward? Is it spending picks now to chase a playoff berth that might end in another early exit? Or is it letting this season play out, evaluating the roster honestly, and using that info to make targeted, aggressive moves in the offseason? Right now, it feels like patience might be the better part of valor. Let the deadline come and go without panic. If the right player becomes available at the right cost, fine, go for it. But forcing a move just because the fanbase is antsy, that's a recipe for disaster. The heart of the issue right now isn't just about finding the right trade. It's about facing the uncomfortable truth that this Cowboys roster might not be built to contend the way we all hoped. And that's where the frustration really starts to bubble up, because if you're a Cowboys fan, you've been told over and over again that this team is just a few pieces away, that the foundation is solid, that the window is open. But what we're seeing on the field tells a very different story. The defense, which was supposed to be elite, has been exposed. The loss of Micah Parsons not only took away their most dynamic defender, it threw the entire structure of the unit into chaos. Suddenly, matchups that were once advantages have become liabilities. The pressure that used to come in waves now only shows up in flashes. The speed, the aggression, the swagger, it's just not there. So let's say the Cowboys do make a move. Let's say they ship out one of those first-round picks and bring in an edge rusher. Best case scenario, that player contributes right away, maybe helps stabilize one side of the line, maybe forces some pressure that leads to a turnover or two. But is that really going to be enough? Because unless that new addition plays 4 positions at once, he's not fixing the linebacker room. He's not locking down the secondary. He's not calling the plays from the sideline. You see the problem? The Cowboys don't need a spark. They need a system. They need a vision. And right now, it feels like they're just reacting instead of building. And let's not even get started on the coaching questions, because that's the other layer to all this. What if the front office isn't the only part of the organization misreading where this team is? What if the coaching staff isn't maximizing what they already have? You can go out and bring in a top-tier talent, but if the scheme isn't right, if the adjustments don't come fast enough, then what are you really solving? This isn't Madden. You don't just insert a new player into the depth chart and expect magic. The best defenses in the league are cohesive. They communicate. They adapt. That's not what we're seeing from Dallas right now. So again, the big question, is this the time to go all in, or is this the time to regroup? Because while the offense is built to compete today with veterans like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and a solid offensive line, the defense looks like a work in progress. And that's putting it kindly. It's a unit that needs time talent, and probably new leadership to reach the level fans were promised. And here's the kicker. There's no guarantee that help is even available. You can have all the draft picks in the world, but if the right players aren't on the market, you're stuck. That's the reality Jerry Jones and the front office have to grapple with. Because this isn't about fantasy scenarios. It's about the very real challenge of team building in a league that moves fast and punishes indecision. And as we inch closer to the trade deadline, the pressure is only going to mount. Every loss, every blown coverage, every missed assignment on defense, it all adds weight to the decision looming over this team. Do they make a move now to try to patch the hole? Or do they accept that this season might not be the one and start setting the stage for something bigger in the offseason? It's not an easy call, especially when your quarterback is playing at a high level and your offense is more than capable of carrying the load in the right matchup. But that's the paradox. Because while the offense says go, the defense says not yet. And then there's the matter of fan expectation. Cowboys fans are some of the most passionate and vocal in all of football. They've waited decades for a real championship run, and every year that ends in disappointment only raises the stakes for the next one. That's why a big trade always sounds so tempting. It's not just about football. It's about hope, about belief, about giving fans something to rally around. But smart front offices don't trade for morale. They trade for results. They trade when the timing is right, when the cost lines up with the need, and when the impact is real. So as rumors continue to swirl, and as analysts keep dropping potential trade targets into every segment, the Cowboys find themselves in a familiar position, caught between the urgency of now and the demands of the future. And while it's true that you don't get many shots at a championship in this league, it's also true that burning your assets for a short-term boost can set you back years if it doesn't work. That's the tightrope Jerry Jones is walking. That's the weight of every phone call, every offer, every headline. If the Cowboys are going to make a move, it has to be the right one. Not just in talent, but in timing. Not just in position, but in purpose. The player they bring in can't just fill a gap. He has to elevate the locker room. He has to raise the ceiling. And most importantly, he has to fit into a plan, a real plan, for how this team is going to compete, not just this year, but for the next several. Because, let's be honest, the current plan looks like it's been rewritten a few too many times. First, it was about building around defense. Then it was about trusting the draft. Then it was about going all in. Then it was about stepping back. You can't chase every shiny object. At some point, you have to pick a lane and stay in it. That's what makes this moment so critical. It's not just about adding talent. It's about choosing a direction. Are the Cowboys still a team trying to win it all right now? Or are they quietly preparing for a reset? Because if it's the latter, then rushing into a trade just to say you did something isn't just unwise. It's dangerous. It delays the process. It muddies the strategy. And it risks alienating a fan base that's already running low on patience. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Explosion in Dallas. Rumors are swirling that the Cowboys have officially secured the signing of Xavier. And if the whispers are to be believed, this could be the move that turns their offense into the fastest, most electrifying unit in the NFL. Insiders suggest that Worthy, known for his blazing speed and uncanny ability to separate from defenders, could be the missing ingredient in a passing game already brimming with potential. While the team hasn't released a full statement yet, sources close to the organization hint that the front office has been aggressively pursuing wideouts with elite quickness all offseason. Worthy, a deep threat specialist with a knack for explosive plays, seems to fit that blueprint perfectly. Fans are already buzzing on social media, imagining a Cowboys aerial attack that could leave opponents flat-footed and defensive coordinators scrambling for answers. The excitement isn't just about speed. It's about the possibilities it opens up for quarterback play. A connection with a fast, versatile receiver like Worthy could allow the Cowboys to stretch the field vertically like never before, forcing rival defenses into uncomfortable positions. Speculation is rife that the team's coaches are already dreaming up ways to maximize the new star's deep threat potential, from jet sweeps to quick-hitting slants designed to get him in open space instantly. Of course, it's all still rumor territory. Yet, the mere prospect of Worthy lining up in Dallas has pundits talking about a potential offensive revolution. Could this be the year the Cowboys finally combine youth, speed, and skill into a high-octane attack capable of challenging the league's elite? If the speculation proves true, the NFC might be facing an entirely new, hyperspeed contender. The league could be on the brink of witnessing the fastest offense it has seen in years, all thanks to a young, electrifying receiver whose name is quickly becoming the talk of the town. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.